Yesterday in math, in lesson 11.3, we were getting introduced to the idea of the coordinate plane, and what we're basically doing is we're graphing. So on a coordinate plane, we have a x-axis, which goes across the very bottom. If you're looking at your paper or looking at my computer screen right now, you're going from left to right for an x, and you're going from bottom to top for the y. And so as you're looking at 2 points, two numbers for an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate, you first look at the x-coordinate and then the y-coordinate. And this tells you where on this graph we would find this point. So, and you can see that these two lines intersect. The y line and the x line intersect at this 0 point. Later on, you'll be learning about numbers that go further to the left and numbers that go further down. But for now, we end at 0 and 0, which means that on this chart, we would find numbers like this. I'm going to write this in the F. We have 0 and 0 would be this point right here in the blue. Okay. If we were to look for where the points are for 2 and 4, we would first look at our x-axis, and we would go across 2. And then for our y-axis, we would go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and there you can see I'm making a mess there, but 2 and 4 on this map is right in here, or this graph. We'll write a new one. We're going to write the numbers 3 and 7. And remember, we would go over 3. Every other number on this graph happens to be numbered, so only the even numbers are showing. We're starting with 0 and going all the way up to 20 to the right on the x-axis, and on the y-axis it goes all the way up to 30. We won't use that much in this particular set of examples. So 3 and 7. So we would start at 3 across, and then we would go up 7. And our point would be right here. Then we'll try another number. We'll just put 7 and 3. We'll just switch those around. 7 and 3 is in a completely different point on this particular grid. We're at 7 here, and we go up 3. We can't consider this line here to be 1. We have to start with this. This is 0. 1, 2, 3. As you continue to learn more about coordinate maps and graphing, a lot of times we'll use these with shapes. We'll use them to graph, different sets of things. Like sometimes we might be graphing amount of money or time or other things. But it looks like this page, it shows us a picture of a shape. It's a four-sided shape. It doesn't have a name. It's quadrilateral, I guess, if you wanted to give it a name, because it has 4 sides. I might be even naming that incorrect. All we can say is there are 4 points on this that we have identified. The vertices where what we're going to be looking for. And so let's take a look and see if we can find on this grid where point A is. Point A, we have to measure. We go over 1, so we know it's 1, and it is 1 up. So the way that we would mark this on this, if we didn't have a T-chart of any kind to be able to write this out, we would say A is found on 1 and 1. Okay, comma would be what we would need to separate that. Let's find where B is. B, we start with our x-axis, 1, 2, 3. We write that down, put a comma, and then we have to find out how far up. And so since I'm already at this B, I'm going to go across and see that it's 3 over and 3 up. C is found at 1 and 5. And then D. D is the hardest one, only because it's the furthest one away from all of our numbers. but we just still need to be careful. We'll start at the point D, and we're going to go down to our y-axis or x-axis. So we have a 6, and then we're going to go over to our y-axis, which is 3. So we would write them out like this: x-axis, y-axis, or x-coordinate, y-coordinate is how we would want to say that. It appears I'm now on page, this would be page 404 in your book. Go ahead and open it up. It appears that one thing that I missed in that last page was the set of parentheses. The parentheses would help us identify those points. For point A on that last page, it was 1, 1. So if you went back with that screen, I'm having a harder time getting back because I've got a set of tools that you may or may not be able to see at the bottom of my screen, blocking my my ability to get back to that. So if we were to put this place, Sandra wrote the coordinates for the vertices for this shape. She, instead of listing the numbers in parentheses, she arranged them in this table. And this is kind of the way, might be the easiest to kind of organize, because we just have to then remember that the line that goes across this direction is the x-axis, and this belongs to the y-axis. You can see they've got them labeled right on the end of this arrow, on the end of this arrow here. So if we were to find where A is on, and it says 1 and 4, we can verify that by going over 1, up 4, and then we can write it like this: 1, 4, and then parentheses. So inside parentheses, B is found at 4, 3. 4, 3. C is 7, 4. And remember, if we're using this table, we don't have to use the parentheses, but I'm just kind of using it to show and to continue to provide example. 7 and 4, and this last one, D, we find at 4 and 1. We will look down at this next one. Now we get to do this on our own. E is found on 4 and 3. Let's find out if that's correct. 4, 3. Oh, look at this. Look at what they did. They switched them around. This time we have the y-coordinate first and then the x-coordinate. In this chart, they have the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate. I imagine we'll need to be careful and pay attention closely. The thing to remember is y is the one that goes up and down, and x is the one that goes from side to side. So are these in the places where we would expect them to be? We'll use this as our way to figure out y coordinate first, up to 4, and then x coordinate, x is 3. So that is correct. For F, we would look for first the y coordinate. I see F is over here. We would write 2. And then over here, x coordinate for F is 7. G, as right here, we've got a different, well, it's still a number that we're going to write. So G happens to be at the 0. So it's at that x-axis, actually. And then the x coordinate, though, is 3. It looks like it would want to... it stops at 0 and 3, and then H here is up to 2 on the y-coordinate, and then 1 across. Write the matching ordered pairs for E, F, G, and H. Ordered pairs always have the x-coordinate first. Tables may either have the x-coordinate or y-coordinate first. So what I'm used to seeing is the x-coordinate always first in a chart like this, but I think it's important to note that they may use the y-coordinate table first. So these have to reflect x and y. So x and y. So E is 3 and 4. F is 7, 2. Remember, we're starting with the x coordinate. G is 3, 0. This particular convention is really important to learn. You'll have lots of opportunities over the coming years to kind of learn this and get to know it a lot better. This is a really good first introduction. So this is our step up. Look at the table below and mark the coordinates on the coordinate plane. So you'll need to make sure we're going to do one of these together. We'll just do this one right here. X coordinate 1, Y coordinate 2. So we have them in X, Y order right now. X1, Y 2. Now you're going to finish the rest of this table on your own. The next page shows us, and I'm going to go ahead and erase. The next page shows us X coordinate and Y coordinate. Each one of these sets goes together. So X and Y. So it asks us to rewrite each table as an ordered pair. Be sure to check the headings of each table before your answers. That's why I'm kind of looking at these really quickly for you. So this is the chart, and we're going to put it in and the ordered pair. So this is 2, 6. Here's a set. This one is B. B gives us X and then Y. So if we look, the decimals. So we have X and Y there. C starts with the Y and then goes with the X. But remember, when we show the ordered pair, we start with the X. So we have X and then Y. D has us put it in a chart like this, so it looks different. So the first is our X coordinate. The second is our Y coordinate. E, okay, this is familiar. So Y and our X and Y. The X is first, the Y is second. So X, Y, and then this last one, X coordinate, Y coordinate. The chart's upside down from what I would prefer to look at it. So I've got to remember 26 goes with the X coordinate. 21 goes with the Y coordinate. If you keep hearing a beep, that's my phone. Sorry about that. And now it says on A, you're going to use question 2C and mark those on the coordinate plane. Draw a straight line to connect the points. Write 3 other ordered pairs that are also on the line. So wherever this ends up, you're gonna be able to find, after you finish, 3 other points that you can mark on here. And you're gonna need to make sure and write the X coordinate first and then the Y. Good luck on today's lesson. This should be first and a very unique one to do.